You are not poor because the world is against you. You are not struggling because you lack intelligence or opportunity or talent. You are struggling because there is a part of you hidden, buried, denied that fears wealth more than it fears poverty. Pay attention. I am not here to waste your time. What I am about to tell you will disturb you. It will make you uncomfortable. It will force you to look at parts of yourself you have spent years avoiding. And if this hurts, it is because you are finally hearing the truth. The unconscious does not care about your dreams. It does not care about your plans, your goals, your affirmations written on sticky notes. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. You think you want wealth. You say you want freedom, abundance, security, but deep inside, in the hidden chambers of your psyche where you dare not look, there is a voice saying, "No, not for me. I am not worthy. I must stay small. I must not stand out. I must not betray those who came before me." This is your shadow speaking, and it is destroying you. What blocks you is not the world. It is you. Stop running from yourself. The journey you are about to take is not for the faint of heart. It requires courage. It requires brutal honesty. It requires that you stand naked before the mirror of your own soul and see what you have refused to see. But this is the only way. There is no other path to wholeness. There is no shortcut to becoming who you truly are. Are you ready? Then let us begin. Let me tell you something most people never understand. Your relationship with money is not about money. It is about your relationship with yourself. Money is a mirror. It reflects back to you everything you believe about your worth, your power, your place in the world. And what it shows you terrifies you so much that you look away. You create elaborate stories. You blame circumstances. You point fingers at the economy, your parents, your education, your bad luck. But the truth is simpler and more terrible than that. You are afraid of what wealth would reveal about you. Let me explain. In every human being, there exists what I call the shadow, the repository of all the qualities, desires, and aspects of ourselves that we have rejected, denied, or refused to acknowledge. The shadow is not evil. It is not your enemy. It is simply the parts of you that you decided at some point in your life were unacceptable. And for many of you, wealth lives in the shadow. You were taught, perhaps by your parents, perhaps by your culture, perhaps by painful experiences in childhood, that wanting wealth makes you greedy, that desiring more makes you selfish, that standing out makes you a target, that success would mean betraying your roots, your family, your identity. So you pushed that desire into the darkness. You told yourself you did not want it. You convinced yourself that poverty was noble, that struggle was virtuous, that enough meant staying exactly where you are. But the desire did not disappear. Desires do not disappear when you deny them. They go underground. They become unconscious. And from there, they control you with even greater power. This is the cruel irony. What you reject gains power over you. If this hurts, it is because you are finally hearing the truth. You have spent years, maybe decades, running from your own ambition. You have called it humility when it was fear. You have called it contentment when it was resignation. You have called it realism when it was self-betrayal. And all the while, the shadow grows. It sabotages your efforts. It whispers doubt when opportunity appears. It creates accidents that destroy your progress. It makes you forget appointments, miss deadlines, choose the safe path over the transformative one. You call this bad luck. I call it the unconscious protecting you from what you secretly fear most, your own power. Listen to me carefully. The fear of wealth is often more paralyzing than the fear of poverty. Poverty, for all its pain, offers something seductive: excuses. When you lack resources, you can blame external circumstances. You can say, "I would have succeeded if only I had more money, more connections, more time." Poverty shields you from full responsibility, but wealth removes those shields. Wealth brings choice. It brings responsibility. It brings visibility. When you have wealth, you can no longer hide. You cannot blame your circumstances. You become the author of your own life. And that level of agency, that level of raw, undeniable responsibility for who you are and what you create is terrifying. Because if you have resources and still fail, what does that say about you? If you have opportunity and still do not act, what does that reveal? The shadow knows this, and so it keeps you poor, not to punish you, but to protect you from the exposure of your true self. What blocks you is not the world, it is you. Now let us go deeper, into the origins of this sabotage, into the moment when you first agreed to stay small. Most people do not realize that they made a decision about money long before they understood what money was. This decision happened in childhood, in the unconscious mind, as a strategy for emotional survival. You watched your parents, you absorbed their anxiety, you felt the tension in the house when bills arrived. You heard the arguments, the fear in their voices, the shame when they could not provide. Or perhaps you saw them work themselves to exhaustion, sacrificing their lives, their health, their joy for money that never seemed to be enough. And in that moment, silent, invisible, profound, you formed what I call an unconscious contract. You decided to stay safe, to be loved, to avoid conflict. I must not want too much. I must not desire what they could not have. I must prove that I am loyal by staying where they stayed. I will trade my potential for belonging. This was not a conscious decision. You did not sit down and rationally choose poverty over possibility. But the unconscious does not work through logic. It works through feeling, through association, through the primal need for safety and love. And once this contract is made, it becomes invisible. It sinks into the foundation of your identity. It becomes who you are. You forget that it is a choice. You believe it is reality. Pay attention. I am not here to waste your time. This unconscious contract is still running your life. Every time you get close to a breakthrough, this contract activates. It sends up alarm signals. It creates anxiety, guilt, and a subtle but overwhelming sense that something is wrong. You feel like you are betraying someone, your parents, your ancestors, your people. You feel like success would separate you from those you love, that it would expose you as a traitor to your class, your culture, your history. This is not paranoia. This is the voice of the collective unconscious, the reservoir of beliefs and patterns shared by your family, your culture, your lineage. The collective unconscious holds archetypes, inherited patterns of thought and behavior that shape how you see the world. Among these patterns are beliefs about money, about worthiness, about who deserves abundance and who does not. If you come from a lineage of scarcity, the collective unconscious carries that imprint. It whispers, "This is how we survive. This is who we are." To change this would mean losing yourself. But listen carefully. I will say this only once. The collective unconscious is not your master. You are not bound by the patterns of those who came before you. Individuation, the process of becoming who you truly are, requires that you separate yourself from the collective, that you break free from inherited beliefs and discover your own truth. This separation is painful. It feels like death. It feels like betrayal. But it is the only path to wholeness. You cannot become yourself while living someone else's life. You cannot fulfill your potential while honoring contracts you made in childhood to keep yourself safe. The question is, are you willing to break the contract? Are you willing to face the guilt, the fear, the sense of abandonment that will arise when you step beyond the boundaries your family, your culture, your unconscious set for you? If this hurts, it is because you are finally hearing the truth. Let us move now to another mechanism of sabotage, projection. Projection is the process by which we take parts of ourselves, qualities, desires, fears, and place them onto external objects or people. We see in the world what we cannot see in ourselves. And money is one of the most powerful screens onto which we project. Ask yourself, what do you believe about wealthy people? Do you see them as corrupt, greedy, selfish, soulless? Do you believe that wealth comes at the expense of integrity, that to be rich means to be morally compromised? If so, then you have projected your shadow onto money. You have taken the qualities you refuse to acknowledge in yourself, your desire for power, your hunger for recognition, your ambition, your self-interest, and placed them onto wealthy people. This allows you to maintain your self-image as good, humble, spiritual. But the cost is enormous, because if wealthy people embody the qualities you reject, and you unconsciously want to be wealthy, then you are at war with yourself. You cannot become what you despise. Your unconscious will not allow it. Every time you move toward wealth, you will unconsciously sabotage yourself to avoid becoming the thing you have judged as evil. This is why so many people experience the pattern of almost succeeding and then failing. They get close to the goal, and then something happens. An opportunity falls through. A relationship breaks down. An unexpected expense arises. They make a decision that, in hindsight, seems obviously self-destructive. This is not bad luck. This is the unconscious protecting your self-image. What blocks you is not the world. It is you. Now, understand this. Projection is not the problem. Projection is a symptom. The problem is the split within yourself. You have divided yourself into acceptable and unacceptable parts. You have said, "This part of me is good. This part is bad." And in doing so, you have created an internal war. The path to healing is not to eliminate the projected qualities. It is to integrate them. Integration means acknowledging that you contain both light and shadow. You are capable of generosity and selfishness. You can be humble and ambitious. You can desire wealth and care about others. These are not contradictions. They are the fullness of being human. As long as you reject parts of yourself, you will remain fragmented. And fragmentation creates internal resistance. You will want one thing consciously while fearing it unconsciously. You will move forward with one hand while pulling yourself back to the other. But when you integrate, when you bring the shadow into the light, when you own all of who you are, the internal war ends. You stop sabotaging yourself because there is no longer a bad self to protect against. You stop fearing wealth because you understand that money does not define your character. It amplifies what is already within you. If you are cruel, money will make you more cruel. If you are generous, money will expand your generosity. If you are insecure, money will intensify your insecurity. If you are grounded in your worth, money will give you greater capacity to express that worth. Money is neutral. It is a mirror, a magnifier, a tool. The question is, what will it amplify in you? And are you afraid of the answer? Stop running from yourself. Let us speak now of something most people do not admit, even to themselves: the fear of success. You think you fear failure. You tell yourself that you are afraid of losing, of being rejected, of falling short, but this is only half the truth. The deeper fear, the one that truly controls you, is the fear of succeeding. Because success brings what poverty protects you from: full responsibility for your life. When you are poor, when you lack resources, you have built-in explanations for why your life is not what you want it to be. You can say, "I would have pursued my passion, but I had to pay the bills." You can say, "I would have taken that risk, but I could not afford to fail." You can say, "I would have left that situation, but I had no other options." These explanations are real. I do not diminish the genuine constraints that poverty creates. But what I am pointing to is the psychological function they serve. They protect you from confronting the deeper question, who am I really beneath the circumstances? Success removes that protection. When you have wealth, when you have resources, when you have options, you can no longer hide behind external limitations. You become fully accountable. You become the author of your choices. And that exposure, that raw, naked visibility is terrifying. Listen carefully. I will say this only once. Many people unconsciously prefer the pain of limitation to the terror of freedom, because limitation is familiar. You know how to navigate it. You know who you are within it. But freedom? Freedom means stepping into the unknown. It means making choices without guarantees. It means risking failure, not because you lacked resources, but because you made the wrong choice. And that kind of failure with no excuses, feels unbearable. So the unconscious keeps you safe. It sabotages success. It creates obstacles that look external but are internal. It ensures that you stay within the boundaries of what is familiar, even if those boundaries are painful. Pay attention. I am not here to waste your time. There is another dimension to the fear of success: visibility. Wealth makes you visible. It puts you in the light. It attracts attention, judgment, envy. People see you differently. They have opinions about you. They make assumptions. They project their own unresolved relationship with money onto you. And for many of you, this visibility feels dangerous. Perhaps you grew up in a family where standing out was punished, where being too much led to criticism or rejection, where shining meant making others feel small, and you learned to dim your light to keep the peace. Or perhaps you internalized the cultural message that humility means invisibility, that truly good people do not draw attention to themselves, that to be seen is to be arrogant, self-centered, egotistical. So you learn to hide. You learn to play small. You learn to downplay your talents, your desires, your success. And now, even when you consciously want wealth, your unconscious recoils at the visibility it would bring, because visibility means exposure. It means people can judge you, criticize you, envy you, and somewhere deep inside, you believe that being seen fully means being rejected. If this hurts, it is because you are finally hearing the truth. But let me tell you something. Your fear of visibility is a fear of your own power. You are not afraid of what others will see. You are afraid of what you will have to become. You are afraid of stepping into your full potential, of owning your gifts, of taking up the space you were meant to occupy. Because once you do that, there is no going back. Once you claim your power, you cannot unclaim it. Once you step into the light, you cannot pretend to be small anymore. And that transformation, that irreversible becoming, feels like death. But it is not death, it is birth. It is the birth of who you truly are, and that is what you fear most. Now let us explore money through the lens of the archetypes, the universal patterns of human experience that reside in the collective unconscious. Archetypes are not concepts, they are living forces within the psyche. They shape how we perceive, how we feel, how we act. And they influence our relationship with money in ways we do not consciously understand. Consider the archetype of the king. The king represents sovereignty, authority, the power to create order and distribute resources. A healthy relationship with this archetype allows you to feel deserving of wealth, to claim your place, to wield power responsibly. But if the king is wounded, if you internalize the message that you are not worthy of sovereignty, then you will sabotage your wealth. You will give it away compulsively. You will feel guilty for having it. You will unconsciously create situations where you lose it. Or consider the archetype of the warrior. The warrior represents discipline, focus, the ability to pursue a goal against resistance. If the warrior within you is weak or undeveloped, you will lack the sustained effort required to build wealth. You will start projects and not finish them. You will retreat at the first sign of difficulty. Then there is the archetype of the magician, the part of you that transforms raw materials into value, that sees opportunities others miss, that creates something from nothing. If you have disowned this archetype because you fear your own creativity or power, you will struggle to generate wealth. And finally, the archetype of the lover, the part of you that connects to passion, to desire, to what you truly value. If the lover is repressed, you will pursue wealth for the wrong reasons. You will chase what others value rather than what you value, and wealth, when it comes, will feel empty. Do you see? Your relationship with money is shaped by the constellation of archetypes within you. If these archetypes are integrated, if the king, the warrior, the magician, and the lover are in balance, then wealth flows naturally. You feel worthy of it. You have the discipline to pursue it. You can create value, and you pursue what truly matters to you. But if these archetypes are fragmented, denied, or distorted, then money becomes a source of conflict, What blocks you is not the world, it is you. The process of individuation, of becoming whole, requires that you integrate these archetypal energies. You must claim your sovereignty. You must develop your discipline. You must own your creative power. You must connect to your deepest values. This is not a metaphor. This is the work. This is how you heal your relationship with money from the inside out. Let me speak now of the persona, the mask you wear to fit into society, to be acceptable, to play the role that others expect of you. The persona is necessary. We all need a public face, a way of navigating the social world without revealing everything we think and feel. But the persona becomes a problem when you confuse it with who you truly are. Many of you have built a persona around being not motivated by money. You tell yourself and others that you care about meaning, not material success. You say you value experiences over possessions, relationships over resources, contribution over compensation. And perhaps this is partly true. Perhaps you do value these things, but it is not the whole truth. Beneath the persona, there is a part of you that wants wealth, that desires comfort, security, freedom, power, that fantasizes about what life would be like if money were not a constant source of stress. But you cannot admit this, because your persona, the identity you have constructed, does not allow for it. So you split yourself. Consciously, you reject wealth. Unconsciously, you crave it. And this split creates suffering. You feel resentful. You feel deprived. You feel like life is unfair, like others have what you deserve. But you cannot acknowledge these feelings because they contradict the persona. If this hurts, it is because you are finally hearing the truth. The way forward is not to abandon your values. It is to tell the truth about your desires. You can care about meaning and want money. You can value contribution and desire compensation. You can be spiritual and ambitious. These are not contradictions unless you make them so. But as long as you hide behind the persona, as long as you pretend not to want what you want, you will remain stuck. The unconscious does not lie. It knows what you truly desire, and it will sabotage your false persona until you are forced to acknowledge the truth. Stop running from yourself. Now we come to the heart of everything, individuation. Individuation is the central process of human development. It is the journey from who you were conditioned to be to who you truly are. It is the integration of the conscious and unconscious, the light and the shadow, the persona and the authentic self. And it is the only path to a healthy relationship with money. Listen carefully. I will say this only once. You cannot heal your relationship with money by trying harder, by learning more strategies, by following someone else's blueprint. You can only heal it by becoming whole. Individuation is not a comfortable process. It requires that you face everything you have avoided. It requires that you bring the unconscious into consciousness, that you own the shadow, that you integrate the disowned parts of yourself. It means asking, who am I beneath the roles I play? What do I truly desire, not what I was taught to desire? What am I afraid of? What am I running from? These are not intellectual questions. They are confrontations with your own soul, and the answers will disturb you. They will challenge your self-image. They will force you to admit that you are more complex, more contradictory, more human than you wanted to believe. But this is the work. This is how you stop sabotaging yourself. Because once you integrate the shadow, once you own your desire for wealth, your hunger for power, your fear of failure, your shame around ambition, these forces no longer control you from the unconscious. They become part of your conscious awareness, and what is conscious can be chosen. You can decide whether to act on a desire or not. You can assess whether a fear is realistic or outdated. You can choose how to express your ambition in a way that aligns with your values. But as long as these forces remain unconscious, you have no choice. They run you. They make decisions for you. They sabotage you without your awareness. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Pay attention. I am not here to waste your time. Individuation in the context of wealth means several things. First, it means separating from the collective beliefs about money that you inherited. You must question what your family taught you, what your culture taught you, what your religion taught you. You must ask, is this true for me, or is this someone else's truth that I swallowed whole? Second, it means integrating the shadow aspects of wealth. You must own your greed, your envy, your desire for status, your fear of poverty, not to act on them unconsciously, but to understand them, to see where they come from, to transform them into conscious choice. Third, it means aligning your outer life with your inner truth. This is the most difficult part, because it may mean leaving jobs, relationships, identities that no longer fit who you are becoming. It may mean disappointing people. It may mean being misunderstood, but there is no other way. You cannot live someone else's life and be whole. You cannot honor contracts made in childhood and be free. You cannot maintain a false persona and experience authentic success. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And that becoming requires that you risk everything you thought you were to discover what you actually are. As you begin this work, as you start to confront your unconscious patterns around money, you will encounter resistance. Resistance is the force within you that fights change. It appears as procrastination, as doubt, as sudden emergencies that pull your attention away from the work. It manifests as illness, as conflict, as the voice that says, "This is too hard, this is not working, you are not ready." Resistance is not a sign that you are doing something wrong. It is a sign that you are doing something right, because the unconscious does not want to be made conscious. The shadow does not want to be seen. The wounded archetypes within you do not want to be healed. Why? Because they have been protecting you. They have kept you safe in their own distorted way, and now you are threatening that safety. So resistance rises up, and it is cunning. It does not say, "I am afraid of change." It says, "This is stupid. This does not work. You are wasting your time." It does not say, "I am terrified of your power." It says, "Who do you think you are? You are not special. You are not capable. Pay attention. I am not here to waste your time." When you encounter resistance, you have two choices. You can believe it, you can turn back, you can retreat into the familiar patterns, the comfortable suffering, the life you know. Or you can recognize resistance for what it is, the final guardian before transformation. Every hero's journey includes this moment, the moment when you stand before the threshold and everything in you says, "Do not cross. It is not safe. Turn back." But the heroes who cross, who walk through the fear, who face the resistance, who keep going even when every cell in their body screams at them to stop, these are the ones who transform. These are the ones who discover who they truly are. If this hurts, it is because you are finally hearing the truth. Resistance around money is particularly intense because money touches everything. It touches your sense of safety, your sense of worth, your relationships, your freedom, your identity. To change your relationship with money is to change your relationship with life itself, and that is terrifying. But it is also the most important work you will ever do, because on the far risen finding placed, other side of that resistance is not just wealth. It is wholeness. It is the integration of all that you are. It is the end of internal war. It is the freedom to choose your life rather than being driven by unconscious forces you do not understand. It is the discovery that you are not who you thought you were. You are infinitely more. Now let us move from understanding to practice, because insight without action is useless. What I am about to give you are not techniques. They are confrontations. They are tools for bringing the unconscious into consciousness, for integrating the shadow, for dismantling the patterns that sabotage you. Do not approach these lightly. They require courage. They require honesty. They require that you stop lying to yourself. Are you ready? Then let us proceed. Practice 1, the shadow inventory. Take a piece of paper. At the top, write, "What I judge in wealthy people." Now list everything. Do not censor yourself. Write down every negative quality you associate with wealth: greedy, selfish, corrupt, soulless, disconnected, fake, materialistic, superficial. Be honest. This is not about political correctness. This is about seeing what is actually in your unconscious. When you are finished, read the list. Now ask yourself, which of these qualities exist in me? This is the shadow. These are the parts of yourself you have projected onto wealthy people, so you do not have to acknowledge them in yourself. You are greedy for love, for attention, for validation. You are selfish in your desires, your needs, your time. You are capable of corruption when it serves you. You can be soulless when you disconnect from your values. I am not saying you are a terrible person. I am saying you are human. But as long as you deny these qualities in yourself, you will unconsciously deny wealth. Because to be wealthy would mean becoming what you despise. The integration practice is simple. Own it. Say to yourself, yes, I am capable of greed. I feel it. I acknowledge it. And I can choose what to do with it. When you own the shadow, it loses its power over you. You stop projecting. You stop sabotaging. You become free to pursue wealth without unconsciously believing it will make you evil. Practice 2. The unconscious contract. Close your eyes. Go back to your earliest memory involving money. What was happening? Who was there? What did you feel? Now go deeper. What did you decide in that moment? Did you decide that money causes conflict? That wanting more makes you bad? That you must stay small to stay safe? This is your unconscious contract. Write it down. Make it conscious. Now ask yourself, is this contract still serving me? The answer is no, it is not. It was an adaptive strategy for a child, but you are not a child anymore. The integration practice. Break the contract. Write a new agreement with yourself. Say, I release the belief that I must stay small to be safe. I release the loyalty to scarcity. I claim my right to abundance without guilt. This may feel like betrayal. It may bring up grief, fear, guilt. Feel it. Do not run from it. But do not let it stop you. You are not betraying anyone by becoming whole. You are honoring the fullness of who you are. Practice 3. The visibility exercise. This exercise will make you deeply uncomfortable. Good. I want you to tell 3 people about a financial goal you have. Not vague, specific. I am going to earn $X this year. I am building a business that will generate $Y. I am investing in Z. Do not downplay it. Do not hedge. Do not apologize. State it clearly. Own it fully. Notice what happens in your body. Notice the fear, the shame, the voice that says, what if they judge me? What if I fail? What if I look arrogant? This is your fear of visibility. The integration practice. Sit with the discomfort. You do not have to make it go away. You just have to stop running from it. Because every time you hide your ambitions, you reinforce the belief that they are shameful. Every time you downplay your goals, you tell your unconscious, I am not worthy of this. But when you speak your desires out loud, when you make yourself visible, you reclaim your power. You say, I am not afraid of being seen. I am not afraid of my own potential. And that changes everything. Practice 4. The worth meditation. Sit quietly. Close your eyes. Place your hand on your heart. Now say to yourself, I am worthy of wealth. Notice what comes up. Does a voice say, no, you are not? Does anxiety arise? Does guilt? This is the unconscious belief structure around worth. Do not argue with it. Do not try to convince it. Just notice it. Then repeat, I am worthy of wealth. Say it 100 times. Say it until the words lose meaning. Say it until you are no longer reacting to it. This is not affirmation. This is desensitization. You are training your nervous system to tolerate the idea of your own worth. Because right now, your system rejects it. It feels dangerous. But with repetition, the resistance weakens. The unconscious begins to accept what consciousness declares. Practice 5. The integration dialogue. This is the most advanced practice. It requires that you speak directly to your shadow. Write a letter to the part of you that fears wealth. Ask it, why do you protect me from abundance? What are you afraid will happen if I succeed? Then switch perspectives. Write back as that part. Let it speak. Let it tell you its fears. I am afraid you will change. I am afraid you will be rejected. I am afraid you will not know who you are anymore. Listen to it. Do not dismiss it. Then write back, I understand. Thank you for protecting me. But I am safe now. I can handle success. I can be wealthy and still be myself. This is how you integrate. Not by fighting the shadow, not by overpowering it, but by dialoguing with it, by understanding it, by bringing it into relationship with consciousness. When the shadow feels heard, it stops sabotaging. When the unconscious feels safe, it stops resisting, and then you are free. Let me tell you what happens when you do this work, when you truly integrate your relationship with money. First, the internal war ends. You stop wanting and fearing at the same time. You stop moving forward and pulling back. You stop sabotaging opportunities because they no longer threaten your sense of self. Second, money becomes neutral. It stops being charged with emotional significance. It is no longer a symbol of worth or identity or safety. It becomes what it actually is, a tool, a resource, a means of exchange. This does not mean you do not care about money. It means you are no longer controlled by it. Third, you stop seeking external validation. You no longer need wealth to prove your worth. You no longer need poverty to prove your virtue. Your value exists independent of your bank account. And paradoxically, when you stop needing wealth to validate you, wealth comes more easily, because you are no longer desperate. You are no longer grasping. You are no longer operating from scarcity. Fourth, you become magnetic. When you integrate the shadow, when you own all of who you are, you become whole. And wholeness has a quality that fragmentation does not. Presence. You are no longer distracted by internal conflict. You are no longer leaking energy into unconscious patterns. You are fully here, fully available, fully expressed, and people feel that. Opportunities respond to that. Money flows toward that. Not because you are using some technique or trick, but because you have become a clear channel. You are no longer blocking yourself. Fifth, you discover what you actually want. When the unconscious contracts dissolve, when the projections lift, when the persona cracks open, you finally hear your own voice. And what you discover is often surprising. You realize you were chasing goals that were not yours. You were pursuing wealth for reasons that did not align with your deepest values. Integration allows you to choose consciously. To pursue wealth because you want to, not because you are trying to fill a void or prove something or escape fear. And when you pursue wealth from wholeness rather than woundedness, the journey itself transforms. It becomes meaningful. It becomes an expression of who you are rather than a desperate attempt to become someone else. This is the gift of individuation. Not just success, but authentic success. Not just wealth, but wealth that reflects your truth. Before we move to the conclusion, I must speak to something larger. Your relationship with money is not just personal, it is collective. The patterns you carry were handed down through generations. The beliefs you inherited were shaped by culture, by history, by the collective unconscious of humanity. And when you heal your relationship with money, you are not just healing yourself, you are healing the lineage. You are breaking patterns that have run through your family for generations. You are creating new possibilities for those who come after you. You are demonstrating that it is possible to be whole and wealthy, to be authentic and abundant, to be spiritual and successful. This is not selfish work. This is sacred work, because the collective consciousness evolves one individual at a time. Every person who becomes whole contributes to the wholeness of humanity. Every person who integrates their shadow reduces the collective shadow. Every person who faces their unconscious makes the unconscious a little less dark for everyone. So do not think of this as small. Do not think of your struggle with money as insignificant. It is the microcosm of the human struggle with power, with worth, with the right to exist fully and claim your place in the world. And when you win this struggle, when you integrate, when you individuate, when you become whole, you light a path for others. You show them it is possible. And that is how the world changes. not through grand gestures, but through individuals choosing consciousness over unconsciousness, integration over fragmentation, truth over comfortable lies, one person at a time, starting with you. Listen carefully. I will say this only once. You stand at a threshold. Behind you is the life you have known, the patterns, the fears, the unconscious contracts, the hidden sabotage. It is familiar. It is painful. But it is safe. Ahead of you is the unknown, the life you could live if you became whole, if you integrated the shadow, if you claimed your power and your worth without apology. It is terrifying. It requires everything of you. But it is the only path to freedom. What will you choose? Will you continue to blame circumstances, to hide behind excuses, to sabotage yourself in ways you do not consciously understand? Or will you do the work? Will you confront your shadow? Will you break the unconscious contracts? Will you integrate the projections? Will you face your fear of success, of visibility, of your own power? Pay attention. I am not here to waste your time. This is not a metaphor. This is your life, right now, today. Every moment you wait is a moment you remain fragmented. Every day you avoid this work is a day you remain controlled by forces you do not understand. But the moment you choose consciousness, the moment you say, I will face this, I will integrate this, I will become whole, everything begins to shift, not immediately, not easily, but inevitably. Because the unconscious, for all its power, cannot withstand the light of consciousness. The shadow, for all its resistance, cannot survive integration. The patterns that have run your life dissolve when you see them clearly. If this hurts, it is because you are finally hearing the truth. And the truth is this: you are not broken, you are not damaged, you are not fundamentally flawed, you are simply not yet whole. And wholeness is not something you achieve, it is something you become, through courage, through honesty, through the dough, willingness to face what you have spent your life avoiding. What blocks you is not the world, it is you. And that is the best news you will ever hear. Because if you are the problem, you are also the solution. You do not need to wait for circumstances to change. You do not need permission. You do not need more time, more resources, more knowledge. You just need to begin. Today, now, this moment. Stop running from yourself. Turn around. Face the shadow. Bring the unconscious into the light. Integrate what you have rejected. Own what you have denied. This is the work. This is individuation. This is the path to wholeness. And wholeness, not wealth, is what you have been seeking all along. The irony is that when you become whole, wealth follows. Not because you chase it, but because you are no longer blocking it. Not because you manipulate reality, but because you align with it. Not because you become someone else, but because you finally become yourself. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And that privilege is yours, right now, if you choose it. Will you? The answer is in your hands. The power is in your choice. The transformation is waiting for your willingness. I have shown you the path. I have given you the tools. I have confronted you with the truth. Now you must walk it. Not for me, not for anyone else, but for yourself, because you deserve to be whole. You deserve to live fully. You deserve to claim your power, your worth, your abundance, without guilt or fear. Not because you are special, but because you are human. And being fully human, integrated, conscious, whole is the greatest wealth there is. Everything else follows from that. Go now, do the work, face yourself, become whole. The world is waiting for who you will become. And you, the real you, the whole you, the you that exists beneath the fear and the patterns and the unconscious contracts, you are magnificent. It is time you remembered that. It is time you claimed it. It is time you lived it, beginning now.